What is up, Cabbage Crew? It is Matt and John, back episode 17 of the Cabbage Crew podcast. This is a part 2 of probably 4 parts that we're going to do for now of the What If series. We're going to be doing season 2 today. A couple of different scenarios in season 2. I guess you could say points in the show that have dramatic turns to them. And what if it maybe turned another way, let's say. So, do you want to just jump right into it, or do you want to talk about anything ahead of time? Is there anything that you want to discuss?
I'll talk to you about something behind the scenes.
Okay. Well, John will be here next week, so we may be doing a live episode 18, maybe live. We're also going to be doing Animecon in 2 weeks, which we'll pre-record an episode, but we'll also maybe do a special in the Airbnb. I'll have to remember to bring some stuff. So that'll be a fun time. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about with that. Our goal is 150 subscribers. Let's try to get to 100. We're at like 80 something right now, so let's try to get to 100.
86.
I still think we can get more than 100, like a good amount more than 100. I think there's a good chance we can have 150 by the time we get back from Animecon.
There's a chance. There's a chance. Yes, I'll say that.
So, but yes, please subscribe if you've not subscribed before. We do all Avatar: The Last Airbender and Avatar Korra on this podcast, as well as some other anime things that come and go once in a while. So,
and other franchises, DC, Marvel,
other franchises, 100%.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it then. So I think the first one we can discuss of the what ifs for season 2. We can just jump right into this part. What if Appa was never taken?
What if that? What if?
So what if in a world where Appa was never taken? So there's definitely a ripple effect with Appa never being taken. So the whole Ba Sing Se arc would be different in the sense that they would be held hostage. They really could have confronted the Earth King pretty much immediately. I think there would have been a lot of not a lot of loose ends. Like Jet would have been in the city. Would have never probably died because he would have never risked his life helping Aang. He would have never kind of gotten to the crossfires of Long Feng, which we did talk about last week, where we were discussing how Long Feng knew Jet, how Long Feng knew that Jet knew the Aang gang, which is an interesting discussion.
We talked about last episode a little bit.
Yeah. So his fate would have been completely different. He most likely would have never died. He probably would have lived happily ever after. I wouldn't say happily ever after, but he would have lived in the city. We would have probably have had way less encounters with Azula. Azula would have never known about the war. Right? Like, because really the whole reason she ran into Kyoshi warriors was because Appa was taken, or Appa was there, and so they would have never been able to get in by the disguise because they would have never probably bumped into the Kyoshi warriors, so they would have never gotten to Ba Sing Se. Good chance, to be honest. Good chance Zuko would have lived in Ba Sing Se and never would have like the crew would have just left the library, went to Ba Sing Se, and prepared for the war. Pretty much. And they might have even won. Day about Black Sun might have been a win.
Maybe.
Am I going too far there?
I mean, it's a worthy thought. I think one thing that would get missed is the character growth with Aang, like the immediate after effect. If Appa was still around, if he didn't get captured, so like. And then, so you missed that. And so other than that, you got a lot of good points. And Suki doesn't get captured, and
Right.
doesn't get the boiling rock. So like it's like, oh, just saving Sokka's father and Kit Sang.
Yeah, and maybe she would have never joined Team Avatar. I feel like there's a lot of you can make a strong argument from when Appa gets taken to when Appa returns. Obviously a lot of emotional stuff happened. Like it was very much the peak of Avatar when it comes to the emotional sense of Aang and where he was mentally and where the whole group was kind of. But also you can make an argument it like stems a lot of different story arcs from Suki to Zuko saving Appa and kind of going through his transformation to ending Jet's story arc. And even kind of a few other very small things that might have still happened anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think the show would have been completely different. To be honest, it's one of those things where it's like the war most likely would have been completely different.
Yeah,
and
the transportation would have been different too.
Yeah, I mean, they would have been in Ba Sing Se in like 2 days. Like they would have been in Ba Sing Se preparing for the war within the week. And they would have been like, Long Fang, you are corrupt. Get the heck out of here. Mm-hmm. There's no way Aang, like they wouldn't have let that happen. Or they would have been like, okay, screw this place. We're leaving. It's too corrupt here.
Right.
And they would have just left. Most likely not, but they would have just like there was no reason for them to be there besides getting with the Earth King.
The young Earth Kingdom family, where we only know Ying is the female mother who gives birth to Hope. Like they probably would be stuck by the fairy lady.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stemming. Like I said before, there's a lot of small story arcs that don't really like matter to the overarching story. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the character developments, but not the overarching story. You can make a strong argument that like there's characters in Ba Sing Se that were changed due to the gang being there. So, like Long Fang, like what would happen with that?
Yeah,
like with Azula not being there, like that whole Ba Sing Se may never have changed. So,
no zoo. Yeah, there's no Ba Sing Se zoo.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing. There will never have been a Ba Sing Se zoo. Okay. And all those fish that probably died from trying to consume parts of the mask of Lake Laogai, that would have never happened. That mask was no. I mean, so kind of going off topic a little bit. Do you think that's the best story arc of the show?
Appa?
The Appa story arc, yeah.
No.
What's your?
It's Zuko's.
No. I'm sorry. I'm not saying character arc, story arc. So like, a 6 episode, like that's a 6 episode story from when Appa gets taken to when they get him back. Mm-hmm. That's very much like almost kind of like the UA. That's like a 3 episode story kind of thing. I mean, season 1 really doesn't have. I mean, besides like part 1, part 2ers. I mean, you can make an argument like the Storm, the Blue Spirit is its own little like story, individual. The Spirit World episodes are, but like really, you can make an argument that's the only legit story arc.
I agree.
Of the show.
I agree. I do. I agree.
Besides maybe like part 2 of season 3 when like Zuko joins the group, there's a kind of like that redemption. Zuko kind of redeems himself to everyone in the group in different ways.
That's like one episode where this thing carries 6 episodes.
Right. Well, I mean, Zuko redeems himself per character in like a 6 episode arc of, you can make an argument he redeems himself to us as the audience, then he redeems himself to the group as a whole, then he redeems himself to Aang, then Sokka, then Katara, then Iroh, and then finishes it all up. So, but yeah, it's interesting that he is kind of like pretty much the only story arc there is. Besides the overarching story.
Interesting to see how like an animal has the best, arguably the best story arc in the show.
Yeah.
And it shows like when especially when I talk to just like average fans of the show and like
Mhm.
people who've seen it before, but like casual viewers, as you would say.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people put Momo and Appa as like one of their favorite characters. Like I'm like characters that don't really talk English or like any
Yeah.
linguistic language. Like it's just it's animal. They're both animals. It's just like they like how they interacted with each other,
Mhm.
and because I think they see themselves, or at least they see those two characters, Momo and Appa, as pets, and
Yeah.
like I see my pet through Appa, or I see my pet through Momo, and so it's like relatable that way.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I almost look at Appa as not Appa, I'm sorry, Momo as a good way of doing comedic relief at most times. I see Appa as more of a character. Like Momo is more of a comedic relief. When Aang needs to talk to the audience instead of awkwardly talking to himself, Momo will join him. So he's talking to Momo, but it's the way the story is telling the audience something specific. That like the finale does that very much.
Right.
A couple other times they do it throughout where Aang will go by himself, or Sokka will go by himself and Momo will join him, and there's some, obviously in season 1, there's a lot of comedic relief moments with Momo. Appa is, in my opinion, like very much a character, especially season 2. Kind of just seeing through his eyes of just the world, and how evil it is, to not only animals but just like overall, like how just dangerous it all was for him. And it's really like probably the first time I've ever seen a show take an angle of like, here's an animal and we're going to do an entire episode revolving around this animal. Like, that's a very odd concept, but it worked very well. Well, we'll move on. Next is we'll stick to that same kind of arc. So what would have happened if the team never found the library?
Sure.
So Toph just taught Aang they want to do their mini vacations. Instead of Sokka saying, let's go to the library, he's like, let's go somewhere else. Let's go back to Kyoshi Island so I can see the Kyoshi warriors again. And they just skip the library. Where would we have left off?
I think I think at the end of the day, like there's, I think it's going to be just it'd be roughly the same storyline, except a few things in boxing say do get different. And Aang gets like he's still like training waterbending and earthbending, like that stuff stays. That stuff stays the same, but it's like if they don't go to the library and it's just like Aang is just training one day with Katara, Toph, both. Who knows? And they're like, a little comet's in the sky.
No. An eclipse. Yeah, you know about the comet. It was the eclipse that they found out about.
But they didn't know about the comet. Oh, they didn't know.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Roku. Aang had the vision like episode 3,
right.
2 or something. Yeah, 3.
But like the Day of Black Sun, they're like, there's this black sun.
We could have used that.
Why? I wonder what this means. Why are my eyes becoming blind?
Well, it's also very interesting because, like, if they didn't know, they would have never even prepared. Like, the plan would have always been just Aang needs to learn all 4 elements. Where, like, halfway through the show, pretty much for an entire, like, 20 episodes, it changed from Aang needs to learn all 4 elements, confront the Fire Lord before the comet. It changed to, let's have this war, and let's defeat the Fire Nation at their most vulnerable, not before a specific time.
Yeah. I mean, you can make the argument, and I'm just not thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
The Day of Black Sun, I mean, maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but the Day of Black Sun might have been like, if you compare it to World War II, Like
Mm.
it could have been like an atomic bomb situation where you attack the Fire Nation when they're vulnerable, so like only one side where only one side has detriment casualties, compared to if it was an all-out invasion, both sides have detrimental casualties.
Yeah, it was their way of trying.
Yeah, there probably would have been a full-scale invasion, like a worldly invasion, just at some point with or without, or without the Day of Black Sun, if it didn't exist, and if they didn't know about it. I think there would have been a much more full-scale invasion of the Fire Nation for sure.
Yeah, it makes you think, like, what was their plan? Like, after Aang learned earthbending, it was like they were kind of just going at, they just really didn't know. So I don't know if they would have went back to Zhang Zhang. I don't know if they would maybe at that point semi-trusted Iroh enough to be like, hey, this guy kind of helped us at the North Pole, maybe, but they probably didn't. Like, they really didn't have a plan, I don't think, post-Toph. Right. Or maybe their plan was, let's go find Boomy, and then Boomy can teach us, and then we'll find a Fire Nation. We'll have Boomy, we'll have Omashu, we'll have the support of the North, and then it all kind of fell apart when Boomy was captured. So, like,
right.
That's another thing. You can make it, and you can also make an argument that, like, the invasion just hurt them straight up. Like everything. The only thing they gained from the invasion was Zuko, realistically. Everything else is a setback. Like, they went there, they got their asses kicked. They lost all their troops, and they pretty much showed all of their hands. Aang revealed that he was alive, which, I guess Azula knew, but I don't think anyone else knew. Azula and Zuko. And Zuko wasn't 1,000% sure. She just had a hunch.
Yeah. And one thing I would have loved to see, like, if they just somehow invaded on the Day of Black Sun just by coincidence. Like, I just wish, like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, they're like,
what? They can't firebend. I wonder why. Oh, there's a Black Sun.
They're on their way, and the Black Sun happens, and they're like, "Oh God, let's go! We got 8 minutes." Or like the Fire Lord's like kicking the crap out of Aang, and then he's about to do the last blow, and he loses it. He's like, "Oh gosh!" He just starts strangling it. And he's like, "Oh, sweet." Yeah, for me, it's like it would, again, it kind of goes back to a little bit of a different show, but it is interesting to see. Like, it is interesting to kind of dissect and take a step back and be like, they really didn't have a plan. In season 2, their plan was, let's find an Earthbender, and then they didn't really have a plan after that, and they kind of stumbled onto the library, which helped push the story forward.
Right.
So we'll say the next what if, and if you want to start with this one, you certainly can. So what if Azula? This one's crazy. What if Azula actually killed Aang?
Well, then the Cycle gets reborn, right? It's that simple, Matt.
No, but what would it have done? What happened?
Well, they would have had a burial for Aang, and they would have tried to kill the Avatar in the water.
Like, Zuko dies. Azula is able to get away.
Yeah.
Iroh still gets captured. Zuko knows Aang's dead. Goes home. Or you can even make it. We can even say, what if Zuko's scar was healed by Katara, and then the water was never able to heal Aang. So, like, Zuko goes home. He's looked at as a savior. He's looked at as the one that defeated Aang. Azula straight up does know that Aang's dead, so she's like on board with it. Aang's dead. Katara still gets away on Appa. They all get away. They find, but Aang's like dead at this point.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have still tried to do the Day of Black Sun without Aang? Do you think how would that have worked out?
I think because Aang and Katara's love was so strong that Katara would be the new Avatar.
Well, Katara very much would have been the catalyst of, because here's the thing, they would have never separated from her father, right? So, like, she would have never learned bloodbending because they would have never separated from that crew. Like, Like they would have been like, all right, it's time for us to put together a ragtag team in the last hurrah. Aang's dead. Let's go find as many people as we can. And we just have to go and hope for the best.
I don't think if Aang died, I don't think there would have been a full-scale invasion. What I think would have happened is like Earth Kingdom territories would be back to Earth Kingdom, but there'd be like they'd try to get those small towns back under Earth Kingdom territory rather than Fire Nation. I think that's where they would have like kind of like divided and conquered, but do it amongst their own regions, and maybe having the Northern Water Tribe help out.
I was going to say maybe they would have went back from the north too. They would have retreated instead of collecting. They would have probably been like, we need to just get back to our defenses as much as possible.
The Northern Water Tribe wasn't even in the invasion.
I know we talked about that before, which is still mind blowing. I mean, they would have been like, they would have, to be honest, they would have probably have made the South and the North combined as one big tribe, and been like, what?
Well, the Southern tribe is like
nothing. Well, at this point, Paku went down there with a couple dozen people, so they would have got back to the idea of one big tribe, and then they would have prepared for the next Avatar, and they would have been like, it has to be someone in this group. So, and they would have had to find him ASAP or her ASAP, which would end up being Korra, and or maybe not Korra, but it would end up being
this time.
Yeah, it would have been someone else. But and then they would have been like, we gotta train this person up, and like this person has to be the Avatar by the time they're like 5.
Yue.
Yue was dead at this point.
But what if it was Yue?
We've already talked about that before.
I know
the idea of Yue being Avatar, which I still don't believe. I won't believe anything besides Yue is a very minor character.
But also pro Yue over Zuki.
No, Suki, 100% team Suki over here. You're really team Yue? Do you like Yue more than Suki?
You've known this.
I didn't know that specifically. Really, you like Yue that much?
I just thought.
I never liked her character. I don't know if I made that clear or not.
I wonder how many episodes you told us how that has not been, or that has been clear.
Did I tell you the live action Yue from the original movie back in like 2010?
The movie that shall not be named. Yes.
Yeah, the actress is the actress of Yue is the voice actress of Asami.
Yes. Yeah. It was pretty. I mean, it is what it is.
Which is like a fun fact, I guess, if it's interesting.
It's a fun fact, but it's just sad that she's associated with the movie that shall not be named. But
Yeah. Well, let's do like one or two more. They've all been kind of in the same realm. So let's do this. What if Omashu was never taken over, and what if Aang found a Bumi and Bumi was his teacher?
I'll be honest. I think roughly it stays the same. I think
it's very different.
I think they're both great. They're both great earthbenders. So obviously different teaching mechanisms, but I think Aang would have learned it either way and would have become good at it either way.
But they most likely would have stayed in Omashu. They definitely would have never went to the desert randomly. Like we wouldn't have been traveling anymore. They would have been safe and sound in Omashu, learning from Bumi, and that would have been a good way for them to stay away from the Fire Nation. They wouldn't have still been on the run with Azula chasing them. So they would have
showed up still. There would have been a
most likely. Yeah, I mean, she did show up. Yes. There would have been still a conflict. Or you can even make an argument. What if Aang learned and then left when they got attacked, and the Bumi was like, "You gotta get out of here." We already kind of talked about a couple of them because it's all trickle effect stuff. Like if they never met Toph, then they would have never probably went to the library. If they didn't know Toph, then they might not have gotten out of the library because she saved them. Appa would have maybe never gotten taken. If you know what I mean, like it very much is. Every event leads to the next event, right? From pretty much when they meet Toph all the way up until the finale.
Yeah,
And like
I
every
mean,
episode is needed. Every event needs to happen to lead to the next.
I couldn't agree more. Every person that I've talked to, I'm like, every episode of this show connects with each other.
In season 2.
Well, even like in general, like they all connect in the sense of like something that gets brought up in season 3 is from season 1.
Yes,
Like,
everything is connected. Yeah, everything is connected, but in the sense of each event leads to the next. Like, I don't think it's like that in season 1. Because like
it's more blood.
It's more spread around. We've talked about that before too. It's more like episodic, more of like a Nickelodeon show would be like a Rugrats or a SpongeBob or Rocket Power or Fairly Odd Parents, where it's like for the most part, every episode you can sit down and watch it as one episode, and you don't need to know too much. Like you don't have to know what happened the last episode for this episode to make sense. Or like if you randomly just sat down and watched the desert episode, and you like. Maybe you like watch 3 or 4 you watch the entire first season, and then now you're just sitting down and watching this. You're like, whoa, what? Like, who's this? Appa was taken? Like, the library? Who's this Toph girl? Like, what? There's so much going on, you know? Why is Iroh and Zuko on the run? Where like season 1 is very much like, this brat and his uncle chasing the Avatar, and they're jumping town to town. For the most part, you know? What if Zuko chose good in the finale?
Chose good.
What if he didn't?
In the series
finale, season finale of season 2, Crossroads of Destiny. He chose the good side. And him and Iroh help him, and basically him and Iroh would have helped Team Avatar take down Azula.
I mean, well, that's it. That's if they take her down. I mean,
they would have.
The Dai Li, though.
With Iroh's help? Yeah, but not until later. There was a full fight until they showed up. They would have taken her down quick. Zuko and Iroh joining Katara and Aang to take down Azula, and she was already
leaving. You mean before the Dai Li showed up? Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Like there was a solid 10 minutes. They would have beaten her. They wouldn't have like killed her, but they would have beaten her enough where they could have gotten the heck out of there.
Yeah,
and then they would have been like, "All right, Zuko, time to join you, I guess." Come on.
Yeah, and then that's the point. Then I'm thinking Dai Li time. Yeah, no, you're right. I would have probably. I mean, I think that's what would have happened. You know, with the
Zuko is so dramatic. He does one good thing and just becomes sick for like a week. If he joined the Avatar at that moment, he would have had like a heart attack. Yeah. He would have been out. He would have been.
He's going through a metamorphosis.
Oh man, yeah.
The dream when he turns into the Avatar. Oh,
yeah. Well, interesting because then, like season 2, going into season 3, I mean, they would have gotten out of there at that point because there's no they would have gotten the king, got the heck out of there because they would have already at that point lost.
But don't you think they would have ran into the Dai Li at some point? Like, do you think that might have happened? Like they get Azula.
Maybe. Well, but they
her, whatever, tie her up, whatever. And then like
their loyalty might not have been there though. Like seeing the reason why they were with Azula is because they were like they saw her like her leadership like / veracity / like a couple other things. If they showed up and she was tied up and like knocked out and Iroh was standing over her, they would have been like, ooh. They would have. I don't think they would have continued working for her at that point.
Wait, I just realized something.
What?
I mean, did Azula just tell? There's like when she goes into the Crystal Catacombs, she brings like 2 or 3 Dai Li agents with her to hold Iroh up, and then like talk to Zuko and like try to persuade him to turn bad. So my question is, where did they go? When she goes down through the tunnel to fight Aang, Katara.
You're right. She might have directed them to, knowing that she's going to have to catch up to the Avatar, she might have directed them to go get the rest.
I think
there was like one.
and all them.
No. I think there was 1 or 2 Dai Li agents with her. Right, that was it.
Just spectating, watching popcorn as the fight.
No. What I'm saying is, Iroh's talking to Zuko about Crossroads of Destiny. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Rocks come up, get Iroh. Zuko turns around. It's Azula and let's say 2 Dai Li agents.
Yeah.
When she leaves and says you can make your own decision, I'm assuming in between her saying you can make your own decision, Zuko, and leaving, and her catching up to Aang, she told the Dai Li agents, I'm about to go find the Avatar. I'm gonna need some backup. Go get the others, as in the other Dai Li agents. That's why they all show up later on. Because without that, they would have never even known where they were.
I see.
Knowing that she probably already knowing that she already won over Zuko.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, and realistically, she's probably thinking Zuko's not that. Zuko would have helped her enough. She's probably thinking in her mind, Zuko will help me enough to defeat them two, or at least hold them off until the Dai Li come. Right. But he's not going to be a big enough a threat where he's going to be too much more to handle all 3 of until the Dai Li come and help. So, in her mind, she's like, Zuko. She was probably thinking Zuko's not even really a big variable in this. I'm either going to have to go get Aang and Katara by myself. Zuko's going to help them, and I'm going to have to hold all 3 of them off for the next 10 minutes until the Dai Li show up. Or Zuko's going to help me, in which it will be easier to hold up just 2 of them with, you know what I mean? Yeah. And because at this point, she didn't really even know how good he was at fighting. Last time she saw him was right before, the chase episode.
Yeah.
So she was probably kind of shocked that he was holding his own. Yeah. So, but he would have joined the team, and then, I'm assuming Iroh would have continued training him and taught Aang. Iroh probably would have taught Aang, and maybe taken him to the dragons.
If Zuko chose good.
Yes. Because not only Zuko would have chose good, but Iroh would have went with him. So it would have been Iroh. It would have been Iroh. To be honest, they would have... Iroh... See, it's interesting, because I don't know if Iroh would have joined them in Day of Black Sun, because he couldn't have been... Yeah. And Aang wouldn't have needed firebending anyway. So... the only difference between that and the Day of Black Sun is that... Aang, they might have chose, knowing that maybe Azula knows, although I don't think, the Earth King was so dumb, man. The Earth King should have been like, yo, by the way, I told this girl about the war, because he would have thought that they would have been like, man, if Zuko's a good guy and Azula fled, so they're still in, at this point, they're still in Ba Sing Se. Everything's good, right? Azula fled. Dai Li is pretty much loyal at this point to nobody besides the Earth King, and Long Feng is long gone, right? And he's in jail.
Long Feng is long gone.
So what they would have pretty much done would have been like if the Earth King was smart, he would have been like, yo, I told him about this, I told her about the Day of Black Sun. They should, and at that point, Aang could have been like, well, I can invade earlier. They won't be ready for it. I'll learn all 4 elements in the next 2 weeks. Iroh can teach me. I'll learn how to redirect, and then me, and then me, and then the Aang gang, along with the entire Earth Kingdom, along with potentially the Northern Fleet, and at least the father and all them, they would have the Earth Kingdom support, and Iroh would have showed up with Zuko too. They would have all came. They would have probably won.
Yeah,
they would have probably won. Episode 1, season 3. The invasion. It's just over. episode 3 is the end.
Or the invasion plan. You mean Sokka's invasion
plan. I remember seeing when the show first released the first half of the season of season 3. And I remember they released the episodes, and I saw them all. And not the episodes, but the episode titles. And I remember seeing Day of Black Sun Part 1, Part 2, and I thought that was the show. I thought the show was going to be over. And I was like, I was always like, maybe the last 10 episodes are going to be Aang getting everything back, them reorganizing the world. It didn't even come to my mind that they were going to lose. I thought the whole Comet thing was just over. Yeah, I guess the comment's not coming. I guess I was like, I guess they changed their mind about that story arc.
No, yeah, I remember seeing that too, and I was like, it's gonna end. Part 2 is gonna be the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. It's a little weird if there was only 10 episodes. Any others that you want to do? It's a kind of a shorter episode, but that's okay. If
so,
not.
What if we started this like 5 hours ago?
I'd be able to edit tonight and not edit tomorrow, and I'll be tired. What if we hit 150 subscribers by the end of next weekend?
Then you would have been correct. You would be correct. That did happen.
We're gonna do it.
Well, we need subscribers. We need subscribers. So please subscribe below if you haven't done so.
Pretty much it.
Sure.
What is a what if you guys want to throw down there so we can maybe answer it next time for season 2? Also, yes, please subscribe. Like John said, John's over there yawning, he's falling asleep over there. Yeah, can't wait for that 24-hour marathon we're gonna have one day. Yeah, subscribe. Definitely check out our shorts. Our shorts are doing pretty well. So if you are subscribed to our channel and you want a little bit more quicker content and less of a hour or 40-minute long podcast, check out our shorts as well. We put them up every day. And we will see you guys next time for season 3 of What If. Animecon. And we're going to be doing season 3 of What Ifs for season 3 next time as well. And then after that, we're going to be doing Legends of Korra What Ifs as well. So check those out next week and the week after. And yeah, see you.
See you, Cabbage Crew. Thank you.